Commission on Religious Freedom urges Trump administration to designate Nigeria as country of particular concern. Welcome back to another update. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, depending on where you're watching me from. Bring you this very update today, being 27th of March 2025 from Sahara Reporters, and we're going straight to this very update. We all are aware how Christians are being killed in Nigeria. Nobody is doing anything about it, and the sad part is that the terrorists killing Christians in Nigeria have been sponsored by Nigeria government. We all are aware of the girl that was set ablaze by a group of Muslims in Nigeria. She was a Christian, and nobody said anything about it. And we also are aware that former U.S. Secretary of State excluded Nigeria from countries that persecute Christians. Well, before we continue with this very update, I would like to welcome all the new and old subscribers. Thank you for subscribing. If you're coming across my channel for the first time, please kindly click the red subscribe button, turn on the notification bell right beside it to enable you get notification once I upload a new video. Don't forget to share to know once you get notification. So here, this news line says that U.S. Commission on Religious Freedom urges Trump administration to designate Nigeria as country of particular concern. In its report released in March 2025, USCIRF urged the U.S. State Department under Trump administration to designate Nigeria along with Afghanistan, India, and Vietnam as additional CPS. The U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom has recommended that Nigeria be designated as a country of particular concern due to the deteriorating religious freedom conditions in Nigeria. In its annual report released in March 2025, USCIRF urged the U.S. State Department under the Trump administration to designate Nigeria along with Afghanistan, India, and Vietnam as additional CPS. The report also recommended that 12 countries be designated as CPS, including Burma, China, Cuba, Eritrea, Iran, Nicaragua, North Korea, Pakistan, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Tajikistan, and Turkmenistan. Additional USCIRF suggested that the State Department maintain Algeria and Azerbaijan on the special watch list and add 10 more countries, including Egypt, Indonesia, Iraq, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Syria, Turkey, and Uzbekistan. The Commission also called for the redesignation of Boko Haram and Islamic State in West Africa province (ISWAP), also known as ISIS West Africa, as an entity of particular concern, alongside 6 other groups: Al-Shabaab, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, the Houthis Islamic State, Sahel Province, and Jamaat Nasrallah Islam or Muslim. The report accused both of the federal and the state government in Nigeria of tolerating attacks on failing to respond to violent actions by non-state actors in 2024. We all are aware of that. We all are aware that Christians are being killed in every corner of Nigeria, and even some monarchs are crying out, telling you that soldiers will be watching these terrorists kill people and not do anything. And when you ask the soldiers, they will tell you that they did not receive order from their commanders to retaliate the attacks from these bandits. Christians are being killed, farmers are being killed by headsmen, and these people that are being killed are Christians. Christians are being killed in every corner of Nigeria. How many times have you seen Nigeria government swing into action in making sure that these attacks and killing stops? None. We have seen a lot of people crying, calling on the government to come to their rescue, that they are being killed in the north, they are being terrorized, they are being, chased out by these bandits and terrorists, terrorizing and killing everywhere in the name of Muslim. None. And the thing that the former U.S. Secretary of State excluded Nigeria from watch list to show you how corrupt all of them are. They are aware of all these terrorism going on and the persecution of Christians in Nigeria, and they pretended not to know. They turned blind eyes. Well, we must continue. It says the Nigeria federal government also continue to enforce blasphemy laws that include a penalty of up to 2 years imprisonment for acts persons consider as a public insult on their region. Deborah was stoned to death and set ablaze. by a group of Alamajiris in Nigeria. The videos of the perpetrators, their faces were shown clearly. None was prosecuted, none was arrested, nobody was prosecuted. Did the federal government hold anybody accountable? Even the perpetrators, their faces showed very clear, especially the one that was holding matches. The matches that's used in setting that girl ablaze in the north. One of the Alamajiri's face showed clearly. Did Nigeria government do anything? No. Nigeria government did nothing about that girl's brother lied, brutal murder. She was set ablaze alive and nobody said anything. Nobody did anything. Justice was never served to the perpetrators. None was prosecuted. That is what we are talking about. And some of you will think, you will say, oh, you are damaging the image of Nigeria as if there is any image. It's US. US is the US telling you that Nigeria needs to be designated as country of a particular concern because Christians are being killed every corner of Nigeria and the federal government do not care. Instead, if you talk about freedom, they come after you. Oh, you have no right to talk about freedom. People are being killed. People are being terrorized. People are being sacked from their communities by these bandits that are armed by the same government, sponsored by the same government, kidnapping and taking ransom. And government officials, former governors who come and tell you that terrorists, kidnapping and taking ransom are doing business. Where does that happen? Well, we must continue. We must continue. A farmer was sentenced to death for defending himself by bandit headsmen with AK-47. A farmer was sent to death by Supreme Court in Abuja, or a High Court in Abuja. A farmer that defended himself against Fulani headsmen was sentenced to death by a court in Nigeria. We must continue. We must continue. Here they are telling you, it is said that the Nigeria federal government also continue to enforce blasphemy laws that include a penalty of up to 2 years imprisonment for person considered as a public insult on their region. Several state governors also enforce their own more stringent blasphemy laws to prosecute and imprison individuals perceived to have insulted region, including Christian, Muslim, and humanists. At least 5% of prisoners remained in state custody on blasphemy charges as the time of the year, including Mubarak Bala, Yahya Sharif, Aminu Ishma, Elasani, Isha Shika, Abdul Jabbar, Nasiru, Kabari, and Abdulaziz Yash. Authorities charged Bala, a humanist, for insulting the Prophet Muhammad in 2021 and they sentenced him to 24 years in prison in 2020. Did you hear that? 24 years in prison in 2022. This is not about the prison you hear. US, they'll tell you, a day is up to 2 years. I don't even know how they count it. This one is 24 years. For what exactly? For what exactly? And some part of that, especially the West, some people are being forced to leave their belief because the Muslims claim that it's against their own. So you have no right to worship whichever way you want in Nigeria. They want you to do what they want you to do. They want you to always do the one they want. I don't even know if you people understanding what is going on in Nigeria. I don't even know if some of you really know what is going on in Nigeria. You people just come out and say, oh, you're damaging the image of Nigeria. Nigeria do not have any image to damage. The image is already gone. It's already tainted and the whole world knows that. 24 years for what exactly? We must continue. 24 years in prison in 2022. However, in May, judicial authorities reduced the sentence to 5 years in 20... They reduced the sentence to 5 years. In 2020, a court convicted Sharif Aminu, a Sufi Muslim, for insulting the religion, creed, and they sentenced him to death. Did you hear that? Do you hear that? This is in Nigeria. This is the same Nigeria they are telling you are damaging the image. Sentenced to death for what reason exactly? So Christians that hired the way they are playing with Christianity. How many have you seen killed or persecuted for that? None. So this is not religion. This is like a cage. And if you go against them, you are in trouble. That is why the bro was set ablaze. For what exactly? She told her classmates or whatever group they were in, those this thing. If they want to do their religious this thing, they should do it aside and not in the this thing studying group. I don't know if it's studying group, right? School group, something like that. That is why that girl was set ablaze. Well, we must continue. We must continue. So, Sufi Muslim for insulting Sharif Aminu was sentenced to death. But a high court ordered a retrial in 2021 and he remained in prison after filing an appeal. He's still in prison. Oh. He's not out yet. Okay. Filing an appeal. Kabara and Deyas remain imprisoned under death sentence that court imposed in 2022 and 2016 respectively. Nigeria's indigenous religious community in Muslim majority and the Christian majority areas alike came under elevated harassment from state government that sought to restrict public display of indigenous practice and rituals. In July, the Anambra state government demolished an indigenous shrine called on the state to eliminate and banish neo-paganism and the works of darkness and evil. Okay. Similarly, the House of Assembly in Ebonyi State banned certain behaviors such as spiritual cleansing by indigenous priests in the Izzi community. Elected representatives in both locals reportedly feared violence will result if such local priests carried out religious ceremonies. It noted that in August, following significant advocacy from Congress, USCIRF, the State Department, and the other U.S. government authorities released from prison. U.S. government entities. Authorities released from prison. Mubarak Bala, president of the Humanist Association of Nigeria, more than 4 years after his 2020 arrest on blasphemy charges. In late December, a court in Bauchi State acquitted Christian nurse Rhoda Jatu more than 2 years after her arrest on allegations of blasphemy for reportedly sharing a message on social media condemning the murder of Christian student. That is Deborah. That is the Deborah I talked about from the beginning of this zero update. Deborah was set ablaze in broad daylight. And the faces of the perpetrators showed clearly. And nobody was prosecuted. Nobody was arrested. Nobody was held accountable. Justice was never served against that girl's brutal murder. Well, we must continue. We must continue. She posted something against condemning the murder of a Christian student. USCIRF had engaged in extended advocacy for her release. It added, the report described Nigeria as the most populous country in Africa with a population of about 237 million people. Okay, we're all at 237. And they want everybody to remain in that backward entity. How do they want to do that? 237 million people, and they do not want, they said the Southeasterners are dot in the circle, and they do not want the dot in the circle to leave so that the number will reduce. So they will know if they will be able to manage themselves, because the population is too much for one country. We must continue. It said approximately 53% of the population are Muslim, 10% are Roman Catholic, and the 35.3% are part of our other Christian dominations. Other communities including Buddhists, Hindus, and artists, if I'm not mistaken. Artists make up less than 1% of the population. Many Nigerians practice traditional indigenous religions. Although related statistics are difficult to ascertain, Nigeria's Okay, 1999 Constitution protects freedom of religion or belief and prohibits the state from establishing an official religion. The Constitution also recognizes common law cult tradition law and the Sharia's cult for criminal and non-criminal proceedings. But common law civil cult theoretically have preeminence over all other inferior court. Okay, that is the news. That is the end of this very news. Okay, let's now talk about let's analyze this very update a little. You all are aware that a girl was brutally murdered in broad daylight, set ablaze alive by a group of Muslims, or should I call them al-Majri, group of Muslims in the north. Their faces showed. The whole world saw that video. Nobody would deny not seeing that video of the mother of that girl. Nobody, Nigeria government did nothing. Nigeria government did absolutely nothing. Even when the perpetrators showed their face with the matches in their hands, Nigeria government did not arrest. Atiku Abubakar condemned the girl's mother and they came after him. He quickly changed mouth. That is for you to see how bad it is. Even high-profile politicians were scared. That is for you to know that it's eating Nigeria up. And the reason we do not want to be part of that country, our Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa, mentioned about the killing of Christians, and some of you started lying through your teeth. Some Nigerians came after him, as if he was not saying the truth. The whole world is aware of the persecution and killing of Christians in Nigeria. Somebody was sentenced to death for what exactly? Blasphemy. And the other one was sentenced to 25 years, 24 years. I will stop here. I don't need to analyze these updates much because everyone is aware. Nobody will deny not knowing about the killings of Christians in Nigeria. So I will stop here. Don't forget to share, turn on your notification. Thank you.